good evening, and welcome. August 19th, 2026. This is episode 31 of Zach with an H. When you were last with us, we had Aaron Horn, the associate head coach at the University of Minnesota women's basketball. They're going to have a great season. Make sure you follow them if you're not. We got Mark, we got James. They are in a Philadelphia-based band called Pokejawn. And if you heard Pokey and you thought of Pikachu and Charmander and Ash and Brock and the 150 and more to see, that is accurate. Guys, great to have you on. I know Mark had some questions about how we even got here, but first, great to have you both on. Thank you for taking the time on this Wednesday evening.
Thank you, Zach with an H. Very excited to be here. Stoked to talk with you about Pokey and John and James and maybe the Cavs and maybe Cedar Point.
Likewise.
Yeah, so to my knowledge, now actually I did not find this. What year did you guys officially launch? When did Pokejawn start releasing music?
James?
That was 2022, I think. Where is that right? 22 or 21?
Yeah, can't remember exactly when, but I would love to get into the genesis of the band. If this now's a good time.
Absolutely. If you want to start right there, because it's awesome. It's an amazing concept. Many have heard it, many may not, but seriously though, when you're able to name drop so many of the OG 150 into a song, Gonna Play Cards, I think it merits everybody to just stop and hear where it started from.
Yeah, so I can tell you, many have not heard of us, just to be forthright. We started as a joke band. We're still a joke band, but we're freaking good too. And that's thanks to James being a professional musician, whereas I pretty much am just a professional clown. But the band started, I guess, in 2021 or 2022, when another member of our band, his name is also James, he plays bass. And he has this big old house out in Huntington Valley, Pennsylvania. It's about 30 minutes outside of Philadelphia. And he's always been big into local bands and going to see local shows at like clubs in Philly, that kind of thing. And so he always had this vision of having a big house party for a ton of people and having local bands come and play. So the start of our band actually starts with another band that's relatively famous. The band's name is called Wheatus. They were famous because of a song they performed in the early 2000s called Teenage Dirtbag. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of it.
Okay, great. So when James, the other James in our band, had this idea to do this house party concert, around that time I was at another concert where Wheatus was the opening band. I watched them play. No one knew any of the songs they were playing. They finished up with Teenage Dirtbag and everyone filmed it. And then that was it. And then the other bands that night came out. I was in the crowd and I had noticed that Wheatus, those guys that were just on stage playing song, were just in the crowd. And no one knew who they were. No one cared about them. So I just started chatting with them. And I was like, hey, do you guys ever, I found out they were from New York. They live in New York City. And I said, do you guys ever do like local shows or weddings or that kind of thing? And they were like, yeah, we're open to anything, like we're just kind of doing shows these days. And so I had gotten contact to their manager and we emailed them and asked what it would take for them to come play a house party. And we talked and they agreed to come and do a house party. And one of the main questions they had was, who are the opening bands? But we hadn't thought that far ahead. So we decided to make a fake band and we didn't know what to call it. James and I both lived in Philly. And at the time we were big into collecting vintage Pokemon cards. And so John is a Philly term. And I just kind of thought of it out of nowhere, Pokejawn. And the idea was we would write songs. Like what we really wanted to do was parodies of Wheatus songs, but change all the lyrics to be about Pokemon and being someone that collects Pokemon cards, and then just kind of embarrass ourselves playing in front of this for this famous band and like kind of butchering all their songs. And that's kind of where it started, I guess. James, what am I missing?
Wow.
Yeah, I mean that's spot on. We had about a week leading up to the show and Mark came to me with this idea. I was in a South Philly apartment, in a kind of drafty little attic, and Mark came up and had this idea that he pitched, and he was like, "All right, we're gonna open for Wheatus," and I was like, "Who? You and me? I can play guitar." He's like, "Well, I'm gonna rap." I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "We're gonna put our friend Duncan on bass. He was our original bassist." And I was like, "We have a week. What are we gonna play?" And he's like, "I've already written 3 songs. We need 1 or 2 more songs, and we'll be good." So Mark had actually already taken the liberties to write. Um, I think 3 of our songs you'd come up with already. So kind of crammed in that week to throw something together, and yeah, the rest was kind of history. So
I think Gonna Play Cards, I wrote the hook and my verse while I was at the gym. At the I go to a really nice gym. It's like an exclusive gym. You probably never heard of it. It's called Planet Fitness. And I was writing there while I was doing my reps, and walked over to James' house afterwards and was like, "Check this Pokemon rap I wrote." And then he pulled out his guitar, and yeah, we were just started writing the songs.
yeah,
And truthfully, the first time I heard the song, okay, and first off,
Yeah.
the hook, the instrumental leading in before words even come in is incredible. And 2, I know you were asking, how does somebody that doesn't live in Philly, doesn't
Right.
live in PA, goes maybe, I am there maybe, I was there 3 times this summer. I mean, I don't live that far. Girlfriend's brother is over there. I have a few friends over there, people that have migrated from New Jersey, New York, Philly, and so on and so forth. How does this even come up? And I tell you
Right.
that this is a quote from my girlfriend who designed the logo. Shout out Ellie. I don't know if she's actually been formally name dropped on this pod before. Her brother just recently got engaged, but well before that, a couple of years ago, they were having a party. I think it was a housewarming for his new place, and his music taste apparently is insane because he has thousands upon thousands of songs. And so, as I told you before we started, that World of Shirts kid who said Louis Vuitton because I'm banned from the Gucci store in some interview that got turned into a song that is very much shocking that I actually still listen to. Right before or right after, I hear Gonna Play Cards. Now, I don't know if Shazam worked, or I looked up the lyrics, or if I asked him directly. That I don't remember. But I really liked the song. I did. It's extremely catchy.
That's
I still
awesome.
listen to it. And so...
Someone put it on for you, or it came up
Oh,
randomly?
it came on. It was on his playlist. It was on his playlist.
That's rad. That's rad.
And I think it was Spotify. And I looked it up after. I'm like, I need to add this to my library because I just want to be getting work done or whatever I'm doing, listening to music. Like, I want to hear this song. And do I occasionally try to go word for word with it? Yes. Do I get very far? I have not listened enough times. But it does lead us here to this conversation. And Mark, you said that this is not your first pod. You guys have done this before.
We've done one podcast before.
How did
Yes.
that one come to be? How did they reach out to you, or did you know them in real life already? This was an Instagram message I sent maybe 2 weeks ago to the @Pokejawn Instagram account that got us here. How did the first one come to be?
that was just someone from our hometown who had been to probably a couple shows, and he was. I think he's relatively new to doing podcasts, and just wanted to get us on. So. Yeah, I hadn't actually realized that you weren't from Philly originally, so I was kind of like, whoa, like as you were just saying that. So that's cool though. I love that that came on at a party because we probably have it fluctuates where if we play a show, we'll get like a little bit more on Spotify, but if we haven't done anything in a while, we might have like 12 to 15 monthly listeners on Spotify at any given point if we're not very active.
Huh.
So your buddy is one of the real ones. So. It's pretty funny.
Shout out. Not gonna name drop directly, but shout out to him, and I will let him know. The second this goes up, so we're not live. You do see, but we are live, but we're not fully live. So we are the only ones hearing this right now. Anyway, Big shout out. Glad we are here. Got a couple questions about the two of you guys before we dive back into Pokejawn. So,
Okay.
James, from what I was told before we started, professional guitarist was the description. Have you always been big into music?
Yeah, so I'd say professional is a little bit of a stretch, but I started playing guitar probably in like sixth grade. I bought my first one, purely because I thought it would get me a girlfriend. And
How did that go
from
for you?
well, the dudes loved it, so yeah, I got a lot of dude friends who liked watching me play, and but I thought it was so cool. I kind of fell in love with it. I didn't really do lessons, so I'm definitely not classically trained, and my theory is lacking. But I also think that results in probably some cool kind of unique stuff because I might go outside the box a little bit with something because I'm don't know what I'm doing from a technical perspective. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, just kind of fell in love with it. So I've been playing for a while now.
Mark, how about yourself? What is your musical beginning? I know from what you said, you're a quote unquote clown, but I don't think that passes an answer or is a proven fact in the court of Zach with an H.
Yeah, I've been obsessed with music my whole life. Growing up, I've really been drawn to anything that's out of the ordinary. Um, to me, I like a band that doesn't fit neatly into a genre, which sometimes I kind of hope that's what our band is like. I think people have a tough time as labeling what our music, even from song to song, they sound so different. Um, I was a big fan of the 90s new metal as a kid. Blink 182, not new metal, but Korn and Limp Bizkit. So I definitely was a victim of that era. The first couple of Eminem albums were a huge inspiration to me. The first two specifically. Pretty happy-go-lucky kid growing up with a good family and had everything I needed and no real family issues or anything like that. But I was always drawn to kind of dark and unhappy and aggressive music. James and I both love heavy metal. Um, so yeah, I don't know how much of that translates to Pokejawn, except I think that James and I do try to uncover kind of strange elements in some of our songs, especially the more recent ones, experimental. Oftentimes, to me, something doesn't need to sound like perfect or good. As long as it sounds interesting, then I'm interested in it.
Okay. And now, where did the Pokemon passion start? Because I would probably guess without venturing, because I don't know this answer. They were all probably in a similar age range. I was watching it before school in the very late days of preschool, early days of elementary school. You had the Game Boy Color turned into Advance, turned into SP. Of course, there was the ability to plug Pokemon Stadium on Pokemon Stadium to plug your Game Boy Color cartridges into the back of your controller, which was a huge development at the time. We're looking at a screen this big to looking at a screen about this big. So when did it first come into being for you guys?
For me, I was pretty into it starting in probably preschool as well, where I remember a couple of my play date friends that would come over had cards, and I just became obsessed with it. And my mom brought me and my siblings to like a flea market that had cards for sale. And I got my first booster pack. And I remember I had a Moltres, which I think was pretty common for that pack. Um, and I remember I was like literally like in bed going to sleep that night, covered up with my covers, and I was just saying out loud to myself like, "Need more Pokemon cards," and I was just completely obsessed with it as this little kid. And it got pretty promptly banned from school because of the rip-offs that the older kids would give the younger kids like me. So I had a hiatus where I let my mom give my old box of cards away to one of the kids who babysit when I was in like high school. I didn't think I'd ever get into it again.
Yeah.
That's a retirement fund right there.
I'm
If
a,
you gave away.
yeah. Well, none of them were, none of them were sleeved or anything, so it wouldn't have been worth much. But so I'm a little bit of a fraud in that way, where I had a pretty pretty long hiatus. But once Mark pitched this idea, I was kind of like, all right, I need to get some cards if I'm going to be doing this. So I restarted my collection, which was really fun. Just kind of shooting for just the nostalgic cards that I used to either love as a kid or wanted but couldn't afford as a kid. And so I've got a modest but very slowly growing collection, I'd say now.
And Mark, before I go to you, I do have to say, so James, you're saying that when they come to your house, you're gonna play cards on your early days?
Yeah, you could say that. If you're in my city, yeah, we'll be going hard and we'll be playing.
And we're all going to be hard. For me, excuse me. For me, actually, it's a little embarrassing, but my first crush was from Pokemon, and see if you can guess. The letter began with an M.
Yeah, that rhymes with Felicity.
What is it?
Rhymes with
Magmar.
Felicity.
Yeah, Magmar. Damn it, James! I'm so sad that you took my joke.
Were you going to say Magmar?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, Magmar was my first crush as a kid. Yeah, I love Pokemon cards. I collected them as a kid also. Really, it was shortly or around COVID, I started watching people on YouTube opening vintage booster packs, and that was exciting to me. So I started buying vintage Pokemon cards around that time, and since then, the prices have skyrocketed. So now I've got a decent collection that I'm thankful that I bought.
Yeah, the Target around the corner from me is usually never busy. I've never had to wait in a line of more than 5 minutes. I remember a few months ago, store usually opens at 8, and it was like 8:15, 8:20.
It's nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, I just had to grab a couple things. I wasn't there to get cards. I just had to grab
Yeah.
a few things. You don't have time to go to the grocery store. You got your little mini Target. We have a little mini. It's not a real Target. It's not. You cannot buy anything you need if it's not food, drink, or
Yeah.
like a travel thing. Anyway,
Did you collect cards in the 90s, or you seem younger than us? I don't know why.
Hold on. Oh, how old are you guys?
I'm in my mid 30s.
Same here. 33. I'm
I'm
33.
30 flat.
Okay.
Okay.
So I will answer that. But that day, I didn't know what was happening at Target. Half people were inside, half people were outside. No one was explaining. There was a special line for people buying cards, and then
That's
one
nuts.
just had-
Isn't it
they had to
crazy?
go in. It wasn't long, but it was very
Yeah.
disorganized. So they said, if
Yeah.
you're not buying cards, come on in. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
Pokemon specific.
Can I show one piece of my collection real quick? Is that okay?
Please
Oh,
do.
no
Yeah.
problem.
And then I will answer exactly where my Pokemon is at, and then
Yeah.
we will dive back into the band.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people do what I did and let their parents give it away or whatever. But a lot of people, I think, have that feeling of like, oh man, I could have lost out on like a $10,000 payout, and those are only for a very select few cards. So it's
Exactly.
No,
It's like
I
the
wasn't
Yu-Gi-Oh!
worried
Egyptian God cards almost.
yeah.
This is, do you recognize what that is? That's the base
course.
set, unopened, 1999, and it's a heavy pack. So there's most likely a holo in here.
Wow.
Fossil, first edition,
Wow.
sealed, unopened, in the jungle.
And now,
So
did
those
you
are
guys,
my favorites.
when I think it was Burger King did gold's cartridge type Pokemon things? I think it was Burger King. You get a couple.
Huh.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
It's not
Not
ringing a
me.
bell. Man, just imagine being in a Burger King talking about Pokemon in like 1999. Like,
With
wow.
toys. With toys.
Oh.
That must. You know what? I don't
Dude.
have it now. I can send this to you after we're done. I'll be able to. It's at my parents. It's at my childhood bedroom at my parents. I'll be there this weekend. I can check then.
That's so rad.
I will. I'll send. So we'll offline that. I will answer with that. I grew up
Okay.
watching the show. I don't know for how long. I know it well enough. I actually rebought Pokemon Snap a few months ago. I haven't played it in about a month now, but I did rebeat most of it. It was a really nostalgic walk down memory lane. N64 classic, Pokemon Stadium, Pokemon Snap. I actually really liked the Detective Pikachu movie, though I never. If it was a game, I never played the game, but I enjoyed the movie. I don't know if it was considered good or bad. I liked it. I liked the cast, and I liked seeing a city where there's.
That was the newer one, right? That from a few years ago.
2017, Ryan Reynolds, Catherine.
Yeah, I liked that movie. I enjoyed it.
Really good movie. But yeah, I've been into it for a while. I like Pokemon. I liked Yu-Gi-Oh! Both. And actually, I've been... Again, I tried to stop because it just never ceases. But I was playing Liquid Crystal, which was a ROM hack. And I started it in February. Still haven't beaten it.
Yeah. That's cool.
It just keeps going. But...
Okay.
I still think Pokemon is awesome. I also like I haven't bought any, but I like the sports merch that Homage does. I don't know if you guys know that company. They do a lot. They do a lot of those NBA Jam style shirts where you get the 2 players on each side and you get stats across. They're the ones that started doing those as shirts. They do a lot of stuff like that. They did a Pokemon collection with every team. I have a Tommy Pickles Dallas Mavericks shirt. It's just Tommy Pickles with a lasso. And then the Mavericks, but they have it for Pokemon too. So
that's cool.
Obviously, and I think not Kyrie, maybe it was Jokic. There have been NBA players who do Pokemon shoes, as well. So it's
sick.
It's awesome.
Well, I don't know if you've listened to the rest of our catalog. I mean, James, do you want to even though we definitely started heavy on Pokemon, we've certainly evolved, no pun intended, since then.
Yeah, I mean, Mark will kind of said this first, and I agree with him, though, where you actually were like, at some point a while back, you were like, I kind of regret naming us Pokejawn. It's a catchy name. I think it's a good name to hook people. But, the first few songs we wrote were, Gonna Play Cards, which is just rattling off Pokemon rhymes pretty much. And the beat, you said the beat's really cool. The beat we constructed from different sounds from the Pokemon games. So like the sound of a Game Boy, like the whoop sound part of the beat is the ball, rocking back and forth. And I think we used a sound when you make the trainer walk into like a wall or something. So that's cool. And then we do a Teenage Dirtbag cover, which is called Adult Card Collector, which Mark also wrote, and it's about being 30 and being into Pokemon cards still. But we kind of strayed away from that after those 2 songs, and we would throw Caffeinated is one of our songs about coffee because we all like coffee, Mark especially. But for my verse, I tried to put a couple of references in because I was like, I still should make it Pokemon themed. But the song isn't about Pokemon. And from there, we've kind of branched out where we have our latest song is, I think, hilarious. It's called Weird Guy, and it's just about being a weird guy and doesn't have any kind of reference to Pokemon. And so, anytime people ask us to one sentence describe the band, I actually have a hard time too because I don't want to just say we're a Pokemon rock band because we're actually really not. It's like, we started with these 2 songs exclusively about it, but it sort of is misleading a little bit, I think. So we cover lots of important topics like caffeine and semi-swears and being a weird guy too. So we're very well-rounded.
But now here's the question. If you guys were not Philly-based, what would the second word after Pokey have been? Because John is... It's a thing. I've learned about the John, but what if it wasn't available? Was there a backup name?
Mm-hmm. I don't know, James. First word that comes to mind. 3, 2, 1, go.
Asparagus. Pokey asparagus.
Try me. I think that's a little too many syllables.
We could be. Pokemart would work because Pokemark, like a Pokemart for the games.
Right. First word that comes to my mind. 3, 2, 1. Boner. Pokey boner.
Okay.
No.
Actually, that's the thing now with the Bulls, but it could actually
the Chicago Bulls.
I know that.
Let's change the subject.
I didn't know they had. By the way, I didn't know they had Bulls in Chicago. BOWLS. I didn't know they had them. I know they had Chicago Bulls. I didn't know. Unless you're talking about like you go to your restaurant and you get a Chicago Bull, but that's
Oh. Hmm. I don't
yeah.
know.
So what I would like to ask, so you talk about branching out, and you guys are Philly based, so I've got to make one kind of sport connection here, and it was in the
Yeah.
initial question list. So personally, my favorite song right now is "Man on the Sixers," and I'm not even a Sixers fan, as you can probably tell. Um, but you know, LeBron and Embiid. It's 30 seconds. It's people make these weird LeBron songs, and
I haven't heard
that's
it
the
yet.
you haven't heard. Oh man, you're
Mm-mm.
talking about the man on the Sixers. It was like a day after the signing, and it's funny because as LeBron made the announcement, I was on my way to the Basketball Hall of Fame same weekend, coincidentally. But is there gonna be a Pokejawn Pokebrawn song?
We can make one right now. You want to make one right now?
Let's hear it.
James, you
BTS.
got your guitar?
No, actually, I don't have it here. It's at my parents.
Hmm. I think we probably won't. I don't know. What do you think, James?
I can't freestyle. That's the problem. So it's you're going to be on the
No,
hook
I
for.
mean, to answer Zach's question, are we going to make
Oh,
a
oh, oh.
LeBron James song? We could make one
Well, I
like
think
where like you think you're LeBron because of your last name or because of your first name.
yeah, I think the other thing going in line with like the Pokemon thing is the other piece we initially like really pushed were like Philly sports basically. Where actually we had one other song that was just purely about like Philly sports and throwing out like Sixers and Flyers references, which I actually
Right.
forgot about. We haven't played that one in a while, but um,
If I
so
were to,
almost the same way where like we were like, all right, we can't just overload and only do Pokemon and like Philly sports. So um, should we reference it in a song? Absolutely. But probably realistically, if we're going to put a whole song together, um, yeah, we'd probably use it more as just like a reference for.
I'd rather write a song about Dean Wade. Is that his name?
Yeah, it's on my shirt actually right
Dean
now.
Wade. I noticed
That
that just now.
yeah,
Uh,
that's
I don't know. I'm excited about LeBron. Um, I just I was so surprised and so not surprised at the same time because I just couldn't picture him going to any other team. Like Cleveland seemed like the default answer, but I couldn't imagine him and Harden. And like, I'm sorry, I hope you don't take offense to this, but I couldn't see that being a viable playoff team for some reason. It would have been so cool, the story. Um, and then Miami would have been weird, I feel like, with
yep.
Giannis. Um, yeah, and the Warriors, I don't know. So like Philly, like from a basketball perspective, it makes so much sense.
Well, hey, you know
Um,
what happens now because it happened, and it will happen. Is you got Pokebron. That's a real thing. Now that's
oh,
Pokebron. That's what I was saying before. I think you had
whoa!
Pokebron.
We might have to write a song, James.
Yeah, that works.
Pokebron.
That works pretty
That
well.
is good. That is real good. Zach, do
I
you
mean,
want to?
maybe.
Zach, do you play an instrument?
Yeah, I can play the MC, but my piano run was about 3 years from fourth to sixth grade. I played one concert in Ridgewood, New Jersey, of
Yeah.
When the Saints Go Marching In. I
Hmm.
did not like to practice, but I love to play. So do with that what you will.
Okay.
Unlike James, my guitar career did have an instructor. It did not last even for the entirety of 10th grade. I retired by year's end. I did have a signed guitar by the guitarist of the Little River Band, if you guys know who the Little River Band is, a throwback to the 70s and early 80s. And of course, I've always got experience in the I just play the harmonica when I can find my harmonica that I've had since I was 9, and occasionally just play a riff and miss half the spaces. I'm actually playing the
Mhm.
air. Yeah, I can play the MC. I can do the
Well,
now coming to the
you should
stage.
join the band.
Okay.
We'll pay you $5 a year if you want to join.
Hey, that's $5 more than I get right now. So from this band. So honestly, I stay in it for 1,000 years, and I could almost buy a courtside seat when you guys play your first stadium.
Dude, now we're talking. Now we're
That's
talking.
it. So from there, And I know that you mentioned the band did initially start off kind of as a joke because you needed an
Yeah.
opener for Wheatus, but
Can we talk
both,
more about that first show and that first like week? It was very fun.
yes, actually, before, yeah, please do. Let's hear it.
James, you probably remember it better than me, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it was a whirlwind of a week. Every day, I guess Duncan, Mark, and myself met up for like the 5 days leading up to it to try to figure out what we were going to do. I was nervous, but Mark was confident in the vision, so we went for it. And a second thing that was going on that week, which was a little bit of a wrench thrown into the mix, was I'll preface it by saying I didn't do it, but I was actually a murder suspect during that week as well, because the
We
Friday
don't really know for sure that he didn't do it, but
I
he
have
at
a
least
like big murder receipt
okay.
from the
All right.
homicide department saying I didn't do it. So
Fine.
it's actually it's on my wall right over here. Hold on.
This is a week. That is certainly. Has this ever been told before? Have you ever regaled before?
A handful of people know it. So this is my murder collage with like the whole write up of the case,
Okay.
and some other stuff. So yeah, we had gone bowling the Friday before, and key point, I had called the Uber to the bowling alley and back from the bowling alley. Um, and so we get back to our friend's house, and we see it's dark out at this point, and we see a few cops looking with flashlights on the sidewalk right in front of the house. And we were like, so Mark actually is a big crime junkie. He is like, he's
And
into
a
it.
junkie, but yeah.
Yeah. So he went running right up to the cops, and he was like, "Officers, what's going on?" He was like, "We don't know anything. Go inside." We're like, "Okay." So we go inside, start blasting music and dancing and whatever. And I realized right when we get inside that my phone wasn't in my pocket. So I was like, "Ah, shit!" Like I dropped my phone in the Uber. I'll have to deal with getting it tomorrow. Whatever. So later that night, Mark had gone up to eavesdrop on whatever was going on outside, and he came racing down the stairs. I was like, "Guys, cut the music! Everybody got it! Like, get up here right now!" And he had the windows cracked open, and we could hear the cops talking. And so they had called in a homicide unit, and they had the whole area roped off. Actually, so a couple hours later, we all leave. Scene was, or I think, cleaned up at this point. Maybe it wasn't. I don't remember. But the next day, I'm trying to figure out where my phone is, and I see a news story the next day. I'm thinking the Uber still has it. I see on the news a story about a stabbing that happened in my friend's neighborhood. And the anchor goes, "No murder weapon was found. However, a cell phone was discovered on the scene." And they zoom
Oh,
in. And that's what this picture is, which maybe you can see is a screenshot from the news story with my like little Mario Kart phone case right there, very clearly.
wow. Yeah.
So I had dropped my phone case like 15 feet away from where there was a big blood stain from someone who had gotten stabbed. So while we were doing this whole, uh, you know, last minute attempting to open for a real band and pull a couple songs together, I was also having to go in at like midnight every night to get grilled by the homicide unit in Philly. So it was a tumultuous week as well.
Zach,
But
he got out of the Uber in front of the house. The police were there. He had a few drinks, perhaps not. He drops the phone immediately getting out of the Uber right next to where the police are. And then they find out later and think it's who.
But also, it wasn't like they were like,
Only you, James, would drop your phone onto a murder
yeah,
scene.
I mean, I had shallow pockets, sweatpants, falls right out of it.
Now the question now is, why has this not been picked up by an author? Why is this not, call it the bowling trip, the bowling alley? It's called a book, the bowling. And actually, there was an internet game. You may have never played it or heard of it, called Bowling Alley Defense. You just have to look it up. Can't even explain what it is. You just have to play it. But you could call the game Bowling Alley Defense. I was at the bowling alley. This phone.
Yeah.
I lost the phone. He lost his phone. He might lose his gig. Will James recover in time? Could be a young adult novel. Could also be a full length POV. Each person has chapters. Each person's harboring a secret, and it turns out none of them matter because you weren't actually tied to it. But we don't know that until page 275.
Yeah.
So that's certainly a way to open up a career for a band, huh?
Yeah. It was memorable. I'll say that. So
What I do want to ask, and what I was going to ask before, is even though that you guys, again, and the reason I used the content, the reason you started out as just needed an opener that day. But what advice would you offer to people who want to make music that have a passion for the arts?
I'll go first. So yeah, I mean, I think it's cliche, but you got to just go for it, and you got to just start putting ideas down, and just also I think pushing through and actually finishing an idea, and not just like getting cold feet halfway through because you're like, this isn't good. All right, it's not for me. It's going to take practice and work. And yeah, we started as a joke and thought it was going to be a one-time thing.
And look how far we've come.
Yeah, I mean, so Wheatus, like a year and a half later, was on tour for real, and they were coming through Philly, playing at like a pretty decent venue. It's called World Cafe Live. It's a pretty cool place to play. And so they had a show there, and their agent emailed Mark and said, "Hey, do you guys want to open for Wheatus for real?" And we're like, "Oh, play like a real show with these guys?" Yeah. So, and that was when we added the rest of the components of the band. We were like, "All right, we got to actually try to sound decent if we're playing a real show here." So we added a keyboard player and a drummer because we were just a cappella basically before, aside from my guitar. So, what we did worked, and it's really silly, but I think it's genuine and it strikes a nerve with or a chord with a lot of people for some reason. And like when we were sitting in that room writing those first few songs, I was kind of thinking to myself like, "Oh, it's going to be like so cringe, like playing this in front of a couple hundred people." And people loved us. And Gonna Play Cards. Wheatus's drummer actually produced that for us because after he watched us play, he was like, "Guys, I like love Pokemon. Come up to New York City, let me produce your first single." And we went up, and so he helped us with that, and it was super cool getting to know him through that. So, like, I never would have guessed that would have happened, and it's been a really fun project. And so, yeah, I wouldn't have ever expected it was gonna kind of pick up like it did. So, got to just go for it, as cliche as that is.
Mark, how about yourself?
I think it's important to try and differentiate yourself and do something that's different and stand out. I think a very important thing is thighs, is like hamstrings and quads, and just thighs in general. Leg extensions, squatting, lunges, all of that. And then what you really want to do is you want to, first of all, shorts, hike them, and then thrash and flail, and lots of this and lots of that, and some of this and some of that, and a little bit of slapping. I think if you can figure that out, then you might get to where we are now. I mean, not everyone can get to where we are because but yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay. Well, slapping the bass. I love you, man. But Pokejawn style.
Okay. I love that movie. Yeah, Mark is doing all of that on stage, and it's hilarious. And me being behind him while he's doing that is extra hilarious. I have the best seat in the house. It's very entertaining, but yeah, it's a fun thing to watch. I'd say when we're on stage, when Mark's on stage.
What are you watching exactly, James?
Your thighs and the way your butt cheeks go when you do the clomp. So
like a horse.
My favorite move. Yeah, it's a little bit like a horse.
Okay.
Not funny.
Okay. IYKYK, right?
Yeah.
So on that note, let's finish up. Gonna ask you guys a couple questions. Call this it's really called the getting to know round. It's really the lightning round. So the first answer that comes to mind on these questions, there's 4.
Mhm.
What we'll do is James will go all 4 yours. Mark will go all 4 yours. And
Perfect.
after that, plug where we can find Pokejawn, where we'll see you next. And then after that, we say goodnight.
All right.
I'm ready.
All right, James. And this is an easy one, probably, to start. Favorite cartoon theme song?
Does anime count?
Yeah, anime counts.
There's a show called Tokyo Ghoul with a pretty hardcore opening theme song. It's called Unravel, and that song rocks. It goes hard. There's great screaming in it. So easy.
Okay. Favorite food to cook?
French onion soup, I would say.
You make French onion soup.
Yeah, it's shockingly very, very easy. It just takes time, but impossible to mess up. So
If I said right now that you had to make an impromptu song, a 15-second verse centered on the first thing that comes to mind on the count of 3, what would it be? 2, 3. You don't have to
probably.
make the song, but unless you want to.
Is this a food or anything?
The initial one was food, but we are pivoting.
Oh, about anything?
Anything.
Probably like a snarse.
Good answer.
Snarse. About how the snarse is very sparse.
Yes. Sparse.
It's actually a farce.
It's sparse. It's kind of like a labarse. And that's
I
the
think,
first word right there.
Okay.
Oh, you're so silly, James.
We got one more. Now,
All
a
right.
fun fact about yourselves that people will be very surprised to hear.
I would probably say the murder story, but I was born in Sweden. That's kind of
That's
fun.
a good one.
Okay. Are you part Viking at all? Any Nordic?
You could argue that. I mean, yeah, you can tell from the giant biceps that so
Of course.
something like
Just on
that.
helmet. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Mark.
Yes.
What's your favorite cartoon theme song?
So I'm going to steal from what you said earlier about Tommy Pickles. I think it's Rugrats. If you can remember the theme song to Rugrats, it was
Yeah, of course.
dun 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 dun. It was like kind of like demented sounding in a way, and uh, almost intentionally sloppy and kind of like off key, and the like rubbery bass sounds that like. And then like there's that toy cat thing on the ground, and it gets up and starts
Yep.
walking, and it has that like machine sound, and like the song kind of warps. It's a very cool song, I think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite food to cook?
Mm, Totino's pizza rolls.
You go in air fryer on that? You go in microwave? You go in oven? Or are you just going straight out the box?
Mm, Not straight out the box. I am a civilized person. Probably in the microwave.
Okay, solid move.
Yeah.
Solid move.
Usually the air fryer like shorts out my kitchen breakers. So
Air fried, of course. Quite literally. That air is fried. Okay, we got 2 more. All right, you have to make an impromptu song, 15 seconds long, about about somebody that you talked to today. What is the song about?
Someone that I talked to today.
Yeah, 15-second verse about the person you talked to today. Not who the person is, but what the song would be about.
You want me to do the 15 seconds right now?
Do you want to? You can.
I like it too.
It's up to you.
Hey, Mr. Man, get off my porch. Don't light that. That's not a torch. Please hand me back my sock. Don't touch me there. I'm hard as a rock. How's that? is about the mailman earlier today when he was dropping off.
Definitely a plot
I
twist.
ordered. It makes sense. I know it sounded weird, okay, but like I ordered suntan lotion off of Amazon, and when it got here, the mailman was like. So, anyways, excuse me.
That was good.
I'm gonna act like I kind of know what you're talking about there, even if I might not.
It's okay. The audience will get it.
Yes, of course. All right. Fun fact about yourself: people will be surprised to hear.
I chase storms as a hobby.
What was the
Um,
last one?
the last time I went storm chasing was in June. I saw a tornado in Effingham, Illinois. It's like central southern Illinois. Um, but yeah, James has been with me actually. I go storm chasing probably 3 weeks out of the year. I use my vacation time and I try and forecast and locate tornadoes and take pictures of them. I have a YouTube channel. It's called Doppler Dick. That's actually what it's called. And I put my tornado videos on there. They're not very good, kind of like our music.
I mean, I think they're pretty sick, but
They're okay. If you look up any of my tornado videos, they look cool, but you can find like professional storm chasers that have the same tornado and it looks better. I'm being humble, but yeah.
Chasing storms, chasing dreams. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where can the public find the stylings of Pokejawn?
at Pokejawn on Instagram. And I don't know if we ever discussed the spelling of John as Jawn. I forget if we ever mentioned that or not. So it's Pokejawn.
Yep.
Same spelling on Spotify. Mark does our social media. Are we on anything else? TikTok? I don't think so.
I think we are on TikTok, but we don't have much there.
Okay. So really those two things, I think.
In a couple years, but it does exist.
The what does?
There is a Twitter account.
Yeah. Yep. And a Facebook page, I think. So wait, Zach, can I ask, have you listened to our other songs or just that main one?
I have to catch up, admittedly. But that one song is enough to get this conversation happening today.
Nice.
I'm so stoked.
There's some good stuff in there.
Yeah.
Listen to Weird Guy. That's our latest. I think
listen to Don't Skimp on the Batter. That's my favorite song that we have.
I think it's something we can all understand because we've all seen someone skimp on the batter when we just want a little
Dude, it's the worst. It's the worst.
Nightmare fuel, honestly. You go to sleep tonight and I'm going to dream about a pancake that's unfinished.
That's literally, yes, you get it, Zach. You get it. Yes.
Thank you guys for joining. Excited to continue to follow Pokejawn and see my first live show going lyric for lyric with at least one song, or at least one verse of one song. And if not a verse, then at least a full chorus.
We have a lot of chants, so it's easy.
Thank you guys for the time.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Man, appreciate you.
All right, guys, this has been the latest edition of Zach with an H, and we will see you on the next episode.